Coach, this week off, just how productive has it been for the group getting everybody healthy and ready to go for these last 4 games?
I don't know if we got everybody healthy, but you know what? Great week of practice. We talked to our captains the other day just to get their assessment how they thought things went last week. They thought it was highly energized. It was competitive. We made it fun. Real good energy, and that's what you want to get out of these week off. And obviously, our preparation this week, we got to get back into more 5-on-5 conditioning and whatnot. We've got a great opponent, St. Thomas, who was picked real high at the beginning of the year, and they're playing their best hockey in the second half. Real good team speed. I think they got 3 of their guys with 15 goals or more. Their power play is real good, so it's going to be a tough challenge for us. But our goals coming in, as we've said all year long, guys, is continue to get better. And it's senior weekend. It's our last home series, so we want to play our best hockey this time of the year and trying to find a way to win a hockey game.
St. Thomas essentially needs 2 wins to be in the mix for home ice. Do you guys relish playing spoiler at all this time of year?
You know what? We did talk about that. We talked about that a little bit with the Lake Superior weekend. We talked a little bit about it coming up this weekend. And if we could do that, because they are fighting for home ice, like you said, and they had last weekend off, I think it's going to be a good matchup. But, we got to play for each other, play hard for each other, continue to build our culture, showing that we're playing more than just pride. And we want to do that in a winning environment. I think the message to the group has been real clear. We want to play our best hockey, and for our fans as well. We've had some good games at home and not so good games. Let's give them our best version of ourselves and be competitive both Friday and Saturday night.
Where are you at now at this point in the season, kind of picturing what the roster is going to look like next year? Have you thought about it at all while you're in season, and just kind of your assessment of the guys who've been on the ice this year and how they might move towards the future with you?
Well, you're constantly assessing, for sure. And they got to fit to what you are trying to build. And I've said to everybody, this has been a restart year. I think next year will be the true rebuild year. But you know what? We're continually recruiting, first of all, to fill some needs. But we haven't given a whole lot of thought. Our guys came in, and I'm grateful that there's guys that came in so late to give us the ability to field a team. And we've been competitive. And I'm happy for the kids that have come here and worked hard, created a good culture, and they really want to be here. And that's been our focus with these guys, is continually work hard in practice, work hard for one another, but I want the kids having fun too. And they've built this culture. We got the 4 games left. It starts on Friday. So we'll play these games out to the best of our ability, and then we'll talk and discuss at the end of the year with these guys on an individual basis.
This second half, Shyiak's been just a big part of your offense. Just what has impressed you about him this second half, and what makes him tick?
He's just a hockey junkie. He's a hockey player. That's all he cares about, is becoming a good hockey player. He's a sponge. He wants to get better. He works at his craft. He's continually working at his game. Very coachable. I think him and Altrichter, obviously, they think alike on the offensive side of the puck, and it's interesting because most of them were pass first type players, and we've said, you got to shoot the puck more. And they've been working on their shooting ability. And I don't think either one of them had 5-on-5 goals until after Christmas. But now, Slip is, I think, the youngest guy in the league, or close to the youngest guy in the league. And you've seen his growth all year long to get better. And not just him, other players, but he's been a benefactor because he's putting points on the board. But no, he's been a great addition, and the reason why he's good because he cares about being a good hockey player.
Cool.
Nice to see you, Mike.
Yeah, I know. Oh, it was a good snow blowing day yesterday. No, just keep plugging. That's what I can do.
Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit about, too, senior weekend. We only got 3 seniors, all 3 seniors with Ryan Ouellette, Jacob Lewandowski, and Jesse Tucker. They were portal guys. They've been here just for 1 year, and they absolutely love Northern Michigan and what it presents, and that's all you can ask for. So obviously a salute to those guys. Good team guys, good in the locker room, good academically, and they've given us everything they had. So real appreciative of them, and obviously we'll be saluting them on Saturday, senior night. And also, we're selling off the gold jerseys. We're doing a lot of fans like those. Those are going on sale live and silent auction on Saturday night. The gold jerseys, numbers 1 through 33.
A very small limbo land you're in, and one thing could put it over the top or under the top.
Yeah. No, it was a really hard weekend. Very, very frustrated by the results. Losing two when we're at the spot we're at in the season was just what needed to not happen. And both games we had a chance. Both games we were in it. Whenever we lose those close ones, I know I feel responsible because there is coaching things you can do in close games that would have changed the outcome. Now that doesn't mean you get a lot wrong every game. So, but when you lose, you tend to focus on the things that you wish you would have done differently as a coach when you lose close like that, and it's hard, and it definitely is. The least enjoyable thing that can happen are those close losses. It's worse when it's at home. It's worse when, the implications are so important as far as the NCAA tournament goes. And so overall, you're just kind of gutted by the weekend. The flip side of it is, I think earlier some of our losses, I just went, we're not even good enough to compete with the top teams in our league. At least we don't feel that after this weekend. At least we feel like we've improved by a dramatic amount. And, I'm trying my hardest to be proud of the improvement our team's made, and then, really just mad at myself and, a couple of our mistakes that we made in those games to not pull them out.
I've been thinking about the not playing well enough on Thursday, not playing hard enough on Saturday. When you watch the tape, is that what you saw?
Oh my gosh, so much so. Yeah, Thursday we were warriors. We battled. We were tough. We were mean, and we just made a few mistakes, and then we didn't make enough plays. I thought left some plays out there, left some free throws out there, missed some open shots, et cetera. And then Saturday we made plays. Like, we made big time plays. The only thing we didn't do is finish layups. We're 10 to 25 at the rim. 40% at the rim, which is, really, really bad. Our average is about 65, 66% at the rim. And, so that was the only thing offensively that bothered me. Even the turnovers, where we had 8 or 9 of them, and it was 3 moving screens, 2 of which were not, illegal screens. So offensively, I loved a lot of things, but then I thought we were just kind of, it wasn't that we were even soft. Like, they didn't just, punish us on the boards or any of that. We were just a step slow and just kind of sluggish and a little lethargic. And I don't know why. I mean, if anything, we should have the advantage at home on a Saturday game. But I thought Ferris moved around with more energy. And, the part of it that's hard, that sucks, is, you hate feeling like a victim. But Erickson and Edmondson played better than they normally play. And both teams had 60% free throw shooters shoot really well from the free throw line. And then, I thought series of, some tough breaks with officiating in both games. And the Ferris game was consistently tough for us. And the Lake State game just was really one call in overtime that just, they miss them. But it's hard when they miss the one in overtime that gives you the ball, and instead they hit 2 free throws. So it was like a series of unfortunate events in both games. And the end result is we have to be better so that, those things don't come into play as much.
Not being able to bring it 100% on Saturday, does that concern you a little bit? The tournament on the horizon, knowing you might have to win the thing to get into the big one?
For sure. And, if you look at this team, I think there's very little data to say you should pick us to win the tournament. I mean, we're 0-5 right now against the best teams. And we are going to have to beat 2 of them for sure, unless there's crazy upsets. And we haven't shown an ability to do that, especially in back-to-back days, where our teams that have gotten to the finals of the tournament or won the tournament, I think we'd shown more of those signs up to this point. So we're going to have to make one more jump. And I think the question is, we were at a spot this year, and then we're in a different spot now. If we end where we are now, we're not going to do anything the rest of the year, other than hopefully win a few games, do we have one more Joe? And I think we do. I think there's some guys that are still improving, and I think as a team we're definitely collectively still improving. If we can make one more jump, now maybe this is a different version, and in those close games they go the other way, and I that's what we have to do. We have to get better one more time, and that's where this week's been a little different than normal, because normally this time of the year you're focused on your opponent and prepping. I need, if we don't get better, it won't matter how much we prep for Tech or anyone else. We got to get better.
So you have the chance to have your best win of the year on Thursday. Are you reminding them of that fact, that you just bring it all out, that that could be our big one so far, and kind of get to rolling into the last three?
Yeah, I mean, 5-game win streak, we're in the NCAA tournament. It's that simple. 4 games left in the regular season. If we win those 4, we'll have a home playoff game. I know the math doesn't. I think it actually almost does, between what would have to happen and with others, and we'd beat Parkside. So if we go on a 5-game winning streak, the 5th game will be a home playoff game against a pretty good team, and we lose the 6th game, we will be in the NCAA. I mean, I know the numbers well enough. We're in. So it's a 5-game win streak. It's not some insurmountable thing. We've done more than that already this year, and we've done that within this year. The problem is, and again, the problem, or you could argue the best part of it, it starts with the hardest one, on the road against the team that right now has the lead in the league. So, you can't focus on the 5-game win streak, but I think what you can tell them, and it's exactly what I told them when we had Grand Valley at home before the 4-game win streak, was, if we get this first one, we did the most difficult task. And at Parkside's probably right there, but let's get the first one and then see if we can get that momentum ramped up. If we don't, it's probably a pretty similar formula in some ways. Then we need another 5-game win streak where we're going to have to win 4, upset someone in the semis, lose in the finals, and that might be enough, and or you win the finals. So we got to get hot, and I guess that's where it all comes down to. We got to get better, more so than anything else, because we can't just win one. We got to win a bunch. But that streak really needs to start Thursday, and I don't. If they play the way they've been playing, we're not winning. I mean, if their role guys turn into, Marcus leaves the game, and Adam Hobson, who's been a good player, but he becomes Marcus. If that stuff happens, I'm sure Ty will magically be back against us. His last game was against us. I'm sure his next game will be against us. If all of a sudden they have 4 Marcuses running around, we're not winning that game, regardless of what we do. So in some ways, you got to pick your poison and live with it.
Especially since Marcus scores a whopping 13 points over the weekend, and they win 2 big ones.
Yeah, incredible, and I like the sport of basketball. I think it's a fun sport, and as a basketball person, it was fun to watch because they had so many guys step up, and Ferris and Lake State had really good game plans, and their game plans lost because Tech's guys that they wanted to be shooting the ball shot it and made it. And I think that part's kind of fun as a basketball person. As a coach, you're going, well, okay, what are we going to pick against them? Because there isn't a great answer, obviously, because people have picked one thing. And at their gym, they've been really good. I think they're 7-6 on the road, and they're undefeated at home. And that's probably the part of the year we didn't do. If you had 4 more wins for us at home, we're ahead of them by quite a bit. So that's the thing. We didn't protect home court, and they've done a great job of protecting home court. And usually what happens at home is those role guys make more plays, but Tech has been doing that to the nth degree but especially this weekend.
Did both of those teams push all their chips towards Marcus? And is that what backfired? Did you watch the tape, and does it give you pause about how you're approaching them defensively?
Yeah. I think, if you were just simplistically saying yes, I think they went, we're not going to let Marcus beat us. And he missed some shots he'll normally make. That's the other part of it. And it's kind of, it's hurt our team a little bit, is our guys in their mind think now that no one ever misses, because we really have had these players just shoot so incredibly well on us. And you do get, Curry misses half his shots more than that from 3. So you do get some misses, and they got a little lucky with Marcus missing some. But the flip side is they were able to get other guys wide open ones, and those guys knocked them down at a high clip. And the Lake State game's a little different even in that. And you watch the end of that, they weren't open. They were actually guarding those guys tight. And, Hobson had one of those senior night out-of-body performances where he played like a different player than he is, which, again, if it wasn't for the fact we have to play him, it's kind of cool when guys step up like that and guys that are, good players become these different type of guys in these big moments when they need it. And it was fun to watch, again, from a neutral basketball perspective. I'm sure it made Coach Hedinga absolutely mortified and disgusted, and it made Bittner really happy. Like, unfortunately, that's the reality of these things. And in some ways, I think both teams probably did what they needed to win the game, and Hobson won the game by making tough shots.
Yeah, it's not like he was making 3-pointers. He was actually taking the ball to the basket.
Yes.
One off the window.
Yes.
In the second half was
big time.
Almost un-Hobson-esque.
Yes. Yeah, and Abel hit the big shot too. And I mean, it's cool. It's what happens. And we made a lot of those plays last year, and we haven't made as many this year. And there's part of you that goes, you think of all the improbable wins we had last year, and you wonder if it evens out a little bit. And we lose 2 this weekend. If we win 2 this weekend, and made a couple improbable plays, Derek throws in that shot at the end of regulation, and we hit one more shot in the Ferris game. Well, now we're 1 game back at Tech, and maybe this is the year where we do it. But some of it comes down to those end sequences, and you either can just think it's all luck and stuff happens to you, or you can try to think of there's some reasons for that. And in the case of Tech, I'll say I think the reasons are their team's been bad, and they've played together, and they've stayed together when they were bad. And because of the way the sport works, whether it's basketball gods or some other thing, they're getting rewarded for their collective sticking together, staying together. Hobson, is coming off the bench as a senior when he was a second-team all-conference player and hasn't missed a beat. Does that make those shots and plays go in? I think so, because I think that's what it's all about. And that's the part where I think, again, if you take me out of my role, you kind of go, oh, that dude's earned that and deserves it. And our goal is to deserve it on Thursday. And maybe they have gotten a couple breaks, and maybe it's time we get one. I don't know, but I hope we can be within a couple points down the stretch and find out if maybe we can pull it off.
I didn't see how many minutes you ended up giving Brian on Saturday. Ramping him up a little bit.
Yeah.
Is he going to be more of a factor?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he handled the minutes we did give him fine. He looked okay. I mean, he's never going to be, prime Brian again, but he didn't look that much worse than he was before the injury this year. So, hopefully he can get more and more out of him. And, he's one of those senior guys with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games left, depending on, what happens here, that, you're hoping he can maybe have some of those out of body moments and, will himself to a few big time games down the stretch, because he certainly has at various points in his career, while being hurt, willed himself to doing some things that probably his body shouldn't have allowed him to do. And we're hoping for one more run out of him.
What'd you see on tape from these Thursday and Saturday from your team? Was it the defense that stood out the most? I mean, I imagine this time of year you just have to be really happy about how they're competing on that end of the floor.
For sure. Defense stood out, yes. Our offensive ball movement stood out as well, too. I mean, the ball was popping and moving, which was really fun to see. But our defense, and it was everybody being in the right spots at the right time and just making plays on the ball, not necessarily fouling or getting into trouble with stuff. But then it was people recovering and helping each other out and just being aware of what was going on and really kind of locked in and focused, which was nice.
Thursday night, going up to Houghton. What do you make of the way you've kind of flipped the rivalry in women's basketball over the past couple of meetings, and how you can keep that going, knowing you're going into a tough environment on Thursday?
It's going to be a crazy environment. It always is. I don't know if I flipped it or if our team kind of took it on their own and kind of said, hey, this is what we're doing. You know it's going to be a fun game. You know it's going to be a crazy environment with their pep band and everybody who's going to be there, and just kind of embracing it and having fun with what you're doing, I think is the first thing. And just knowing, you know, we are playing really good basketball right now. But in those games, things get, you know, emotions start coming and tension starts building. It's just going up there and taking care of business and doing what we do, and just keep it with the Northern way and how we've been playing, and keeping it consistent with what we've been doing.
What's the way to beat Tech in your opinion? They've been up and down. They have some freshmen that contribute quite a bit. What's the recipe for you guys on Thursday?
To kind of continue with what we've been doing. Defense is going to be a big thing for us, making sure that we can slow them down. Obviously, Lentz is a very good player. Steadfast is having a great year this year. I mean, as a freshman, she's coming in contributing a ton. And they've kind of mixed up their lineup a little bit, so it's going to be a little bit different with our matchups with who we're guarding compared to the first time we played them. And obviously on the offensive side, you gotta make shots, right? Like, you gotta get that ball moving. And the one thing I think watching the film this last week is it's almost like we're too unselfish. Like, we had a couple of shot clock violations, or shot clocks that get down to like literally 3, 2, 1 before somebody lets it go. We gotta have somebody who wants to take that shot at any point in time in the shot clock.
What's your approach message to them about these last 4 going on the road? Obviously, you just go up Thursday and you're back before the 3-game stretch where you're really on the road. Just what are you telling them about how they need to finish this regular season?
It's that time. It's crunch time. And so right now it's, yes, taking one game at a time and just figuring out, okay, Thursday is not going to be easy, but neither is next week. It's time that we prepared all year for this. I think we're pretty healthy, knock on wood, with everything we've been doing and how we've been doing things. You just got to go out there and you got to play our style, and we got to do what we do. But every game is going to be a battle. I mean, that's what it is in the GLIAC, and it's not going to be one night this is going to be an easy game. This is going to be, no, we don't have that. And so we got to be prepared each and every day, and that's what we're planning right now. We're just, again, it's kind of the business aspect, right? Like, you go in, you got your preparation of what you're doing. We're keeping it very consistent with what we're doing. And each day you got to be ready to go.
Academically, where do midterms fit in all this?
Oh,
Because
right
is
here.
that next week?
Oh yeah, why not,
Okay,
right?
that's the,
Yeah.
how, because I wasn't a college athlete by any means, how do they fit this in?
Well, it's the prep again. Monday, I talked to our team. They got a message from me early Monday morning saying, hey, next week we're gone all week. We're on the road, so make sure your professors know we're on the road. Remind them, because they already know, but remind them, take care of business in the classroom. But also anything that you need to make up or get done beforehand or before we leave, you got to take care of that this week. So again, it's just the prep. And our team, knock on wood again, they've been very good at taking care of that stuff in the classroom and being ahead of schedule. And we just kind of put it on them, like, you guys know, and they want to have a really good semester too as a team. So I think that's part of it. That's one of our team goals, is our GPA. And they set that. That's not something that coaches set. So just making sure that they are aware of, okay, prepping, this is where we got and this is what we're doing, and just being ahead of schedule.
I'm guessing a lot of highs from this weekend at home, starting things out. But I know you guys want to keep building. So how do you kind of assess what happened for first 2 games and keep it going?
Yeah, Friday was super important. Just beating that regional opponent and kind of doing it pretty handily in the fourth quarter. Hopefully, if we can keep momentum building off of that, play the type of composed offense and really stingy defense that we played in the beginning of that game, and the way we were able to score in the fourth quarter in that game, hopefully is going to be a sign of how we could play into the season. But it is going to be a challenge as we play D3 opponents, and it's a little bit until we go on the road and end up playing other in-region D2 opponents, to just try to keep building, maintain intensity, and make sure that we're not falling into any sort of bad habits that you would have seen because of this break in Division II opponents. But I saw a lot of good things. Sunday was really fun. A lot of people saw the field. A lot of first goals for freshmen. Really good atmosphere. We had really good crowds both nights. According to my father-in-law, it was record-setting attendance for women's lacrosse, which was cool. But yeah, overall, really fun weekend. Obviously, you want to start with defending your home, and I think we have a pretty cool home court advantage here that we took advantage of.
I was there on Sunday. It was kind of over when it started. The truth, but it was every face-off, every possession was yours. Is that something you've ever done in practice? Like, we have to possess, the ball and set up our offense.
Yeah, so this year we've really pushed our team to have really short defensive reps and really long offensive reps because we think that's the best way we're going to be able to score this year. So even against a team like Stout, where we do have the ball all the time, we want to try to have as long of offensive possessions as possible. So you're taking the best look every time, because I think long term, when we're playing the best in the Midwest region and Division II lacrosse, you want to be able to hold on to the ball as long as possible and be able to handle any sort of pressure you're getting with composure. And I thought we did a really good job of that this weekend, and also did push our defense in the way that we wanted them to, especially on Friday, of just making short reps against a team that was picked really high. So
I asked you last week, what do you do without Minnie? Well, Josie showed up and kind of answered that question for me.
Yeah.
Just her sophomore year, heck of a start on Friday. Just, what did you see from her first action?
Josie's so fun. She has such great vision, and she's a great athlete, so she can zip around the field, get draw controls in a way that is really useful when you graduated two people that were huge circle players for us last year. So having her be able to do that, and her willingness to share the ball this year is going to be huge. So we have a couple different people we're going to look to for scoring. Maddie Bast, who's back in the midfield, Hannah Jabas, who's a freshman, and just having Josie be able to facilitate, but also have the ability to kind of play great for herself is going to be huge. In the recruiting process, I fell in love with the way Josie played because of how good at passing she was. And so it's been fun this year to see her with the ball in her stick more be able to contribute to facilitating other people scoring instead of just her taking it and driving it. But, I mean, she's the reigning GLIAC Freshman of the Year, so she had some weight on her shoulders, and I thought she'd done a really good job in this first weekend of handling it with composure and also playing a team offense the way we need to. We can't have an offense where we're all just stopping and looking at one player.
How rough of a weekend was it for you? Putting up with him.
I
mean, it happens.
It happens. I think there's a lot of fun in a household where you have two coaches, so we're pretty lucky that we understand each other's sports and understand like the competitiveness going on. So we're preparing for different things. We're at very different parts in our season. He's at the end, I'm at the beginning. He's seeing a lot of different challenges than I am right now, just because it's end of season stuff versus beginning of season stuff. But I mean, at least we kind of had a balanced weekend after all of it. Obviously, they had a really tough time, but I think there's a lot of talent there, and they're going to be able to hopefully have one more run.
Because, I mean, and thank goodness you don't both coach the same sport.
Yeah, if we both coach basketball, it'd be a little rough, but we don't do that. The overlap is fun because usually in the first semester where we're in our out of season, so we're doing kind of like what spring football is. So we have scrimmages and stuff in the fall, but it is lower stress that way so that I can be more supportive during that time period. And then as we ramp up, he's ramping down. So in about a month and a half, he'll get to be a lacrosse fan instead of us both being in the thick of